Another lovely Friday. Welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape. My name is Ikenna Mbah. And on the show, you know what we do. We look at headlines from across business publications from the world, city to city, state to state, country to country. I will introduce my guest and we'll jump right off on a beautiful tone. He's none other than one of my three anti-usualist analysts. His name is Chooks John Rogers Chooks. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Ikenna, good morning.
Good, Nigeria. I'm not feeling that morning of yours, but I'll let it slide. Did you wake up well?
You should have come to find out.
I'm here now, and I
You
care.
were not there at the point of waking up. That is where you find out.
You see, that's why I asked you, because I wasn't there.
Okay, so next time you try and be there at the point of waking up.
There's something wrong with that, but I'll let it slide.
Okay.
Okay, we'll jump right to it. Business day. Rising youth heart attack spurs cardiac care revamp. So there's been an increase in heart attacks, which has prompted initiative to enhance healthcare in Nigerian hospitals. For some weird reason, that doesn't sound very nice. First of all, young people are dying from heart attack. It's been known. When I say young people, of course, not as old as 30s, 40s. I have a few friends or people I know that has happened to. But when it comes to the part where they say they're revamping or making Nigerian hospitals upgrade and look nice, there's a problem with that because I don't see it changing. Every time, forever, that I've talked about get to the hospital, get treated. For instance, accident victims. Get to the hospital, get treated, and we'll deal with whatever later. It has never happened. What are we dealing with in our healthcare space?
Are we looking at the healthcare space? Are we looking at the heart attack or the revamping?
Because the healthcare space, the problem in it is what's causing not being able to take care of people and do the needful. And first of all, people are dying. Let's start from there, heart attack. So they're talking about revamping. So that's why I had to go to the revamp, because we have tried to revamp on different occasions, hasn't worked. So how will revamping for heart attack work?
Okay, for this particular headline, they used the word revamping, but if you get to go through the story, you understand that they were just trying to say sensationalize it, because revamping did not come in the context of the story that was written on the heart attack issue. Now let's go to the revamping and the health sector issue. Now, for a lot of hospitals that are supposed to be social services, majorly, we see government and both federal, state, and local governments not really playing their part. But a lot of primary health care is supposed to come from local government, and local governments are most times not functional. So we get to see one of their major primary assignments is supposed to be taking care of the primary healthcare sector left in the hands of the federal government, which is not supposed to be. So that is one major issue. Then the federal government is worrying instead about teaching hospitals.
Federal government left in the hands of the federal government.
Local government is supposed to be in charge of primary health care.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that is non-existent. Except in a few states, Lagos, for example. So a lot of the things you now see is federal government to now be the one to now trickle down funds for primary health care, which is not supposed to be. But when that happens, the primary assignment, which is supposed to be tertiary institutions, suffer. But even at that, we still look at, okay, what is the budget that's going to the health sector in the first place? Let's come back to the heart attack issue. For that word revamp, what they actually meant was not casting aspersion to who the editor that let that fly. What they were saying major was that Lagos State Teaching Hospital is coming into collaboration with private hospitals that have expertise in cardiology and heart issues. And they are sending their own people from the Lagos State Teaching Hospital to go to those particular places and get trained. And that is starting almost immediately because of the rising case of people less than 50, 40, 30 having issues that hitherto is strange. And that has to do with a whole lot of lifestyle we've emulated. We've left the fufu of our forefathers and the amala, and we've started eating French fries. So Nigerians, Lagosians, if you're listening, we have to change our habits.
On a lighter note, the word fufu, amala and forefathers, there's something not sitting well.
You should better sit well.
Because when you say forefathers, it's more like it's more like pounded yam.
Good and fine.
Because amala is quote and unquote slightly processed. You have to go through this, you have to dry that, and I don't think
amala is not processed.
Slightly.
It's not processed
you dry
as
the
in
yam.
Good. What dries it?
That's a process.
Sun.
What our forefathers used to do, they'll get the yam, boil it, put it in the mortar, and pound it.
They still made amala.
So amala is young on that list.
It's not that young. It's just like our forefathers fermented things even before the white men thought or knew what fermentation was.
Slight process. That's the keyword.
That is still not.
Next headline. Costly. We'll segue a bit away from some seriousness because I think we need to talk about this briefly. Costly promotion mutes aspiring Afrobeat artists. Now, due to the global recognition of this style of music, this genre, Afrobeats, there's been a high level of spending for promotions, all kinds of things, influencer marketing, and it's not inspiring more artists to show up because where's the money?
Yes, the thing is this now. We should start looking for other avenues of pushing out content and not holding on to the old style and direction of you produce, you get a label or a marketer, you get
shopping for
somebody that does a leg run and you visit stations, you visit PR, you do. Now let's start looking at new technologies because that old format is expensive and is getting more expensive, and that was left in the hands of labels majorly. The artist is just to get creative and bring out the content, and the label will do the legwork and every other thing and take the chunk of the money
and tell you owe $3 million, and that's what they spent on your project.
So for younger artists or those that are not discovered yet or those that are running the race themselves, there's another thing we also need to talk about one day, the issue of payola. Okay, I didn't mention that, but these are things that we need to also
it is so expensive, and you just hit the nail on the head because adding payola to that, we're not even talking about
what is that.
You have to add payola to this.
What is that?
High big budget payola is payola.
Okay, I will wait for that definition.
We're going to talk about payola on his show. When that happens, I'll be there. Next headline: businesses in hot water as Red Sea attacks raise cargo costs. This haven't really, I don't know how, for some weird reason, this hadn't made sense to me. This didn't, actually, looking at it. Shipping headlines are imposing new surcharges on goods bound for Nigeria in order to offset costs of diverting the routes. Now, could it be that these things are staged? You know how stuff are planned just to raise overheads or to raise profits?
Well, they are not planned. The global logistics system is going through some turmoil right now, and we happen to be on the receiving end.
Sorry, pause. You said they're not planned. Let me paint you a picture. Okay, so recently, I saw a short viral video, right? Cargo ships were bringing in containers. And for some weird reason, I keep wondering, I'm like, who's recording? You know, when they ask who's recording this video, they should have helped. This is a good place where you're like, thank you for recording this video. So they're at the middle of the sea, right? And they pushed some of these containers into the water.
You saw them pushing it?
Oh, of course.
Is in the video where
they went back with smaller boats to the containers. Then they used a saw to cut open those containers and begin to lift things into the boats from inside the containers.
Okay, now this is two ways. Now, when a ship...
Then when they come back, they'll say, your container...
No, it's two ways.
In the water, or it's gone.
It's two ways. Now, you can have criminals, yes. Now, you can also have a ship that's in distress. When the ship is in distress in high waters...
Attacked by pirates.
It might not be pirates. There could be major ship distress. Maybe they've taken in water they can't account for, or there's an engine, there's a malfunction somewhere. They have to get lighter if they want to survive. So at that particular point in time, they will drop cargo. They will drop cargo. If it has to do with life and death, they will drop cargo to survive.
You see the men that I saw in that video?
Yeah, they were having fun.
They looked robust and happy. They were excited to cut that container and lift those goods for themselves.
Okay. And let's go back to what's affecting those in the shipping industry right now in Nigeria, because they are not smiling. And the trickle effect is getting down on everybody because you will pay for it.
Why this is a problem for me, right? It's going through a certain route. Then
Yes.
they're billing you, and that route is not safe. So they're billing you to go the safer route.
Yes, because now see where the issue is. If I have to travel from Aja to CMS to the office, it's just at most 3 bus stops. If I have to hop transport, if I don't get a direct one, it's just 3 stops. And now I have to now, because of something happening between Lekki and Togate, and I have to go through Aja to before Lekki, then cut into VI, then get down to Ikoyi before I start finding my way here. It's going to cost me more. It's the same thing that is happening right now.
Did you just describe our office?
Of course, yes. We're on the 16th floor.
With some pizzas and panache.
Yes, we're on the 16th floor. One of the best views you can ever get anywhere in Africa. So where were we? Yes, we're still here on the 16th floor. Now the issue is this. Now they are incurring more, trying to get the goods here. But now how they divide the extra expenses is what we are getting to see right now. For MESC, for CMG, for Lloyd, a lot of them have already given this since January. Then some is just coming for June. Is still the conflict that is happening, and what Hamas and their supporters are doing in the waters around the Red Sea. So nobody wants their ship to be sunk. Nobody wants to lose their crew and now get to pay ransom
We
for
don't
people.
know it's Hamas. We just know they're pirates.
No,
They
for
can
this
be from Boluku
for
or
this
Sierra
parti-
Leone,
for
they
this
can be from
particular
Ajang.
for this particular issue, it's sympathizers of what's happening between Israel and Palestine.
For sure.
Yes, that's what's happening right there now. So everybody, a lot of lines are
Avoiding that route.
exactly avoiding that route. So they are telling you, okay, for a 40 or 20 feet container, you pay extra $150 or $500. So it's moving from.
More like $1,500.
You said?
More like $1,500.
So you're moving from paying what normally you pay between $4,000 to $7,000. You now have an addition of between $200 to $500. Well, you might think it's
On
not
each container.
Yes, you might think it's not much, but accumulatively, it's much.
Right. Next headline. Modular refineries set sights on U.S. crude oil to fill supply gap. So this comes as there's been a need for alternative source of crude. And it goes back to, I remember what we've talked about on the show a couple of times, how we have sold crude that's supposed to be for the children's children. I wouldn't say our. And when we have stuff like this, they're talking about, quality crude from the US that as long as the supply is there, we're good. I'm like, how are you good? How do we mitigate this situation?
Well, as it is right now, we just refuse to face some certain fact and tell ourselves the truth.
Isn't that?
You see those ancient koboko?
The one that has three prongs or two.
Any one of them. Those ancient koboko, we need to bring it back and look at all those people that have contributed to this mess.
I think to hold that ear and just be.
Yes, because at this point in time, it's not just shameful. It's a slight. It's a slight, and we can't be having refineries. People that have labored and investors that have put their money down to get these facilities up. And the next thing they are looking for is the facilities were built in the first place because the raw material was just a stone throw away.
Right.
So that was factored into the cost of building the material and also the cost of being able to make profit at the end of the day. Now, if they have to now go outside their vicinity to go get material from the same people you are exporting to, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But what we will advise is, there are several oil blocks that are redundant right now. Activate them.
Do we have redundant oil blocks?
Yes, we do.
Why?
That question will go to Abakari, NNPCL, is it not?
Shouldn't, because I know that people want these blocks so there can be ways to increase what we have available, but they are just sitting there.
There's a whole lot of bureaucracy in that end.
Okay, bureaucracy. Yes. We're on to Financial Times. ECB cuts rates in 5 years after inflation eases. Inflation across board. When people like countries like Bangladesh, they always tell my mind how they're doing so well and how they're lifting themselves out of the inflation, and India to some extent. What do we need to pick up from headlines such as this?
Okay, for their central bank, they've gone ahead to cut down their lending rates, their borrowing rates, and a whole lot of that, because they know Qatar and the Middle East, they are not places you joke with. And
In what
for
sense?
their policies are human targeted, not what is taught or influence from the West or advice from somewhere else.
Right.
They are directly human targeted, human business targeted. So what we are doing on this side is majorly we are directly taking, I won't call it advice, instruction, because we are owing. Somebody is giving us money, and a particular group is saying, okay, do this and get more. Okay, do this, we'll give you leverage on this.
Doesn't that sound like bad counsel? So that you can keep getting more, because the right counsel
Well,
usually would save you money instead.
well, as it is right now, we will go to a court of law to debate whether it's right or wrong, because there are people supporting and there are not people that are supporting. And the sad part of it is that those that are taking this particular counsel are, quote unquote, those with the certification and the names all over the place, and we call them experts. At the end of the day, what it boils down to, the people in your country are the businesses surviving. Now, these other people are cutting down rates because they have been able to show up production in their place. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you, inflation, this inflation, that. What is Nigeria producing? What is Africa producing? We are importing far, far more than we produce. We consume things that we don't make. So why wouldn't we have inflation up and down? Let that be the focus of the government. That way we'll be able to produce for ourselves. That way inflation will come down. We'll be able to. The value of the naira is not the issue. It's what it can buy at the end of the day. If the naira is not chasing the dollar, then good and fine.
Why are we keen on the naira chasing the dollar when it's so far behind?
We don't. Okay.
Because
there is a country called China. China, the Chinese government on their own will wake up one day, shut their doors, and devalue the yen
overnight.
Yes. Why? Because they are very, very productive and they want to be competitive in the market. So they are giving their people the opportunity to produce at a cheaper rate and now bring it to the international market. And I say, okay, bring your own. We'll bring our own.
Yes.
Ours is cheaper. It's produced better. So they are, quantity-wise, they are pushing goods into the market. So Europe is shouting and complaining. That is your business.
That is too much.
That is your business. So this is where our own people should leave the policies given to them by the Bretton Woods organizations and face Nigerian businesses.
What's that?
World Bank, IMF.
Oh, okay. Oh, Daddy.
And the other MFs we don't know.
I like that, the MFs. So your opinion, your words. How do you think we can make inflation less harmful, less hurtful, rather?
Now, to make inflation
Let's assume we're all ready to take that step to move in that direction. Well, let's agree. What do you think we can begin to do as first steps towards in that direction?
If the value of the naira I have in my pocket can buy me the food I need, what's my business what inflation is talking about? I don't know if you understand. Now, let's break it down. I need to buy milk. I'm waiting for somebody to bring milk from Holland or from Denmark. That doesn't make sense. Whereas there is 1,001 cow from Niger all the way to Sokoto.
First of all, it sounds like it's going to be expensive for starters. Where it's coming from? Let's assume that for starters.
I need to buy a jacket. What stops me from going to Yaba and Tunde making me up a jacket and I wear it proudly? Instead of waiting for, let me not call names, somebody from Italy or somebody from the UK, and I come and start bragging with you, I am wearing this, I'm wearing that. We need to start producing first. Then we can ask, okay, we'll patronize what we produce. You can't patronize what you don't even have in the first place. So if we produce and we can afford what we are producing, then good and fine. We won't worry about what inflation is talking about. But we need to get productive. And that is where the government should focus on. The lazy youth slogan that is going up and down, the government should stand up and say, okay, good, thank you, lazy youth. Now, get productive. Make things available for people to get productive.
Come, let's help you.
If you have to flog people into the factories, do it.
No, that's violent.
No, it's not.
No, it's not fighters.
No, it mustn't be literally flogging. At a point in time when China closed their borders, they told their people, if you have to go naked, go and produce clothes and wear. It should get there. Where we are right now.
You know, it's one thing to say, to give that instruction, that directive. It's another thing to be sure that the person can actually make that move. That you have made it easy.
By the time there is no cotton coming in, no cotton coming in from anywhere, nobody will tell you. So by the time there is no rice coming in from Thailand, nobody will tell you. And that happens, both the person making the law and the person making the policy should also abide by it, not just making policy and laws for people to follow when you are not following. Yeah. You can't come and be driving all those cars, 50, 100 cars, or just you.
From outside.
And you're telling me I should go and buy nothing. No.
Okay, let's keep pushing forward. Next headline, LSC chief, still on our business day, Financial Times rather. LSC chief pushes for outdoor screen in the city to showcase market successes. You know, it reminds me kind of like what is happening Madison Square, Times Square rather, where it's just so much lights and you see adverts, you see, you know, promotions of businesses and stuff going on. And I'm wondering how that can help them.
It's all about marketing. It's all about promotion.
I remember one time, I think I was going up Echo Bridge, and there was that really big electronic billboard, and it was blinding. I was like, so if there was a car in front of me and I wouldn't see the car.
Okay,
so
okay.
Those
for
were
those
like
that
the
had,
downsides of those.
light sensitive eyes.
But it's not even light sensitive. Even if your eyes are good, if lights are coming directly at you because it's as close as you are, it's just that it's off to the side of the road.
For that is the screen itself and those managing the screen.
Screen, right?
Yeah, it is the screen and those managing the screen. That's where the issue is. But for this particular headline, it's lets people feel free to celebrate success. Let people feel free to market. Now, if I tell you that, hey, guy, I like what you're wearing. I mean, the perfume. Now, is it affordable? Yes. Where can I get it? In this place. These are the kind of things you get to see.
Advert.
Yes.
My mouth.
Yes. Now, because is their product, is their market. They are pushing for the successes within their product, in their market, in their own landscape to be shown out there.
And the more eyes,
of course, yes.
The more awareness,
of course,
the more patronage, the more profits.
And nobody will get to tell you the downside of what's happening within their market. That is who is shaping narrative for others to follow. But if you come down to Africa, the first thing you get to hear is, my brother, things hard.
You hear all the things not working before you hear the things that are working.
By the time you get to things that are working, the person is tired and gone.
Okay, the hot social media startup that ran cold. This is a news on page 7. You need to check it out yourself. Some of the brands we don't want to be name dropping. Next headline: Succession talks grows as Honor puts son 29 at the top of the Louis Vuitton holding group. Now, problems for a while, for the longest of time, I have seen that this has been a problem. I haven't seen where it has worked, honestly. Where there's a really amazing business that's doing well, then the owner gets their young son or daughter and just take them to the top of the totem pole, the apex of the business, and let them run things. I haven't seen one place. If you have, please share. I haven't seen one place where it has worked. If anything, it has made the business begin to dwindle because not just because the young person can't do the work or do the job, because others are like, it's a square, he or she is a square peg in a round hole. Please talk to us about that.
The first question I'll ask, who is holding majority of the shares?
Of course, the person.
So if he is holding majority of the shares, he can make that decision. If he decides to pass his shares,
No one is saying he can't make the decision.
good. So let everybody know.
The problem is the
Being
decision.
able to now manage the institution itself now.
Can the person work in that? Because where it has worked, it's not even the same thing. Where it has worked, where I've seen it work is the person starts from the down there, from the
And learn the ropes.
Yes,
and it's part of the organization.
And he
that
learns-
is when the board will accept it's even the board that will say, okay, no, give us this person. Now this
because
is
you have shown and proven.
not yes, exactly.
Remember, he leans towards when we talked about Ikenna Mbah. You see all that
Of course,
time
yes.
spent.
Definitely.
You learn all these
Definitely.
things along the way.
Definitely. Let's flip it. There is a certain man that developed with his friends Apple.
Yes.
Good. How many times did the board shove him away?
Oh yeah, like twice, multiple times.
So this is to tell you that when it comes to business, it's beyond an individual. It's majorly good. It's a company
not
performing
emotional.
per time. Not okay. We are forecasting 12, 15 years, so okay, it's going to. As of in the next 6 months, 6 months per, 6 months before, 6 months tomorrow, what is this person doing? If this person is not doing well and the board see that, okay, this is not working, there's no emotions in it. Thank you very much. Can you move? Yes. But if this is a clothing brand, a fashion brand to be precise. So if
Very
he thinks it's more linked to family name, good and fine, we'll get to see. But there's always boards in these businesses. So if the boards let it fly, they have the opportunity to sink or swim.
What about in some cases where the board is not as strong as the owner? You know, there are those boards.
Yes. Now this is
Sometimes there are fillers
now
when
this
it comes to issues like this.
This is the funny thing. For brands like this, there are competitions that are quiet and watching.
Correct.
If you make that mistake and hand over this company to someone that is weak, before you know what is happening, they either underground start buying up your shares, and you think maybe your shares are doing extremely well, not knowing that your competition is buying it off.
And the buy-in, not even just well, the buy-in will come as a result of disgruntled shareholders. They're like, this is going down.
You wake up one day and they tell you, sorry.
You call a board meeting, you see different people, you see strangers. Wow.
You don't just see strangers, you see strange bedfellows.
On to Financial Express, 7.97 trillion taka budget placed in JS with few paradoxes. So this, what's it called, the publication is Asian. So huge government borrowings, tax rises on goods, counteractive to inflation control. These are the things economists are talking about.
For them there in Asia. Okay, good. Now, for
Asia is just such a lovely place to do business and live.
the
You might not know how to speak the language, but you should learn.
now the beautiful thing about them is that they are welcoming. They are very welcoming. As long as you're there to increase their productivity.
Productive keyword.
As long as you're there to increase their productivity, and they are good at it. Now, if you look at what's happening in the world market, the West, yes, hold majority shares of the market, yes, but the production itself is coming from Asia, and they are not struggling or making noise about it. Even the China itself, that everybody is thinking is competing against, they are not making noise about it at all. They are quietly gaining their ground, and that happens to be it Thailand, be it Bangladesh, be it every single one of them have found a niche where they have cooperative advantage, and they are latching and holding strong to it. This is what Africa should learn. This is what we should learn, and not just be a market where we come to buy, not bringing the goods to sell.
Now, buy, sell. I'm saying that because we want to know how, like, please, your last point. Can you rehash it one more time, please?
Hashtag. Now, most times when Africa comes to the market, which happens to be that particular market is in Africa. Let's not tell ourselves some lies. The market itself is in Africa. 90% of what is coming into Africa is not made in Africa, and when they will get them here, all what we do is consume. We buy for consumption, for either for our industries or for personal use. And at the end of the day, we are not bringing that amount of goods or half of it. 30%, no. 10% of it is not even coming from us production-wise to give back to these people that we are buying this much from. So our trade deficit is in a whole lot of negatives across borders. So the major thing Africa is moving away are primary raw product. That's a shame.
It is a damn shame. Next headline: the Business Post. Right. So Mahmoud is optimistic. Industries, consumers anxious. He is optimistic. Business owners and consumers are anxious. Is it not typical of what we will hear around here? Because one of the reasons why we do this, and when we look at these headlines, we try to see how Africa can emulate the positives, especially how amazing that Asia is doing. So now, the leader is optimistic, but the people actually producing the goods, people actually using the goods, are not. They're anxious.
Now, the first question we would have asked: who is Mahmoud?
Mahmoud is the head teacher of their private school in their town.
Okay. Now, for those that are wondering, let me not go there. We've seen over time. Let's look at the story of UAE, Dubai. They have a leadership that had a roadmap from the onset and was able to communicate it down to everyone, and they followed it. And we can see what they've become today. Especially, UAE, that's where we're taking an example from. Now, the same thing runs across UAE, Qatar, Oman, every one of them. You think they are doing extremely well.
Correct.
When I say well, I mean extremely well. Now, they have the same oil like most African countries do. But the change or the snag there is that the leadership is 100% different. Now, if a leader is seeing a picture, it is now left for him to communicate that picture and get his people.
Sell the vision.
Yes, to follow.
That's why I thought it was such a funny headline. On that note, we'll come to the end of SOUQ Business Landscape. My name is Ikenna Mbah. Thank you, Chuks and Rogers.
Thank you very much
for exciting,
for having me.
Mind-boggling analysis.
Yes, so please, Nigerians, eat okpa. Go back to our local foods and leave French fries alone.
Remember, Amala is the youngest brother of Swallow. On that note, we'll come to an end of the show. Same time, on Monday morning, 7 a.m., we'll do justice to more of these headlines. And remember, we see how we mitigate, how we do better, how we get more productive with these headlines, how we can apply it here on our own business landscape. Exactly. Have a lovely day as you stay with us.